Hey guys, it's t-shirt week here this week, and I am wearing my Liberty t-shirt because I just graduated last week. Welcome to the Bible Tribe with Seeing Deep Ministries, where we see deep in a shallow world and overcome the battles of the mind with the Word of God. The natural inclination of our hearts is to defend ourselves when we're under attack, but when we humble ourselves and let God fight for us, we remove ourselves from the drama and walk in peace. We're reading today from 2 Samuel chapters 16 through 20, and the verse of the day is 2 Samuel 16, verse 12. Perhaps the Lord will look on my misery and return good to me instead of his cursing this day. This verse is such a moment of faith, trusting God to make something good out of a bad situation. How many of you need to hear that right now in your life or situation? Joseph had the same epiphany. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. And Paul echoed the same spiritual reality in Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. There is hope in our dark moments, friends. God is always in control, and he always has good purposes. In context, David's son Absalom was hunting his own dad down, family dysfunction at its highest level. The truth is, David was not a great dad, and David was going through it in this scene from 2 Samuel. There was Ziba seizing on David's crisis to throw Mephibosheth under the bus for his own gain. Then there was Shimei pelting David with stones, cursing him. Can't get much worse than that, right? Ever had one of those days or seasons in your life where you feel so unpopular? Jesus did too, and Moses, and Jeremiah, and David. You get the point. We will suffer in this life, and we will all have times of persecution if we are faithful to God. But none of it is wasted in God's hands. The truth is that David was not guilty as charged by Shimei. What looked like David bore guilt was just the appearance of things. David could have harmed Saul, but he did not. Sometimes people will make a hasty judgment and then pass it along, influencing others. But look at David's response again. The verse of the day, perhaps the Lord will look on my misery and return good to me instead of this cursing this day. I've had a recent situation where a couple of people were saying things that were not true. And believe me, I've been in this situation before. But I found this time that God had grown me. Miracle of miracles. I cared more for the person who was sinning by their actions. And I just smiled. Sure, don't get me wrong, it wasn't fun, but it did not stress me out. I gave it to God, and I have a couple of people surrounding me who knew the truth, and God used them to defend me too and encourage me. When we don't defend ourselves, we leave room for God to, and when God is our defender, look out enemies. There's no greater defense. Key words. I chose the key word good, which is the Hebrew word tov. It means good in the widest sense. I love that. Sometimes we define good by how it affects us in our temporary moments, but God sees the bigger picture. It means beautiful, best, upright, to be kind towards someone. Can we trust that our good, kind God has our best interest in mind? Even when life simply hurts, he is good, meaning nothing vile is in him. Our hearts try to accuse God sometimes, but there's such a beauty and peace of mind when we submit to God's plans and let go of ours. When we don't defend ourselves, we leave room for God to. Thought of the day. When others attack, God has our back. An application, trust God, friends. When the chips are down, his purposes are always good. Go with God and his precious word, friends. Tune in tomorrow as we head back into the book of Lamentations.